To summarize key concept 3.1, it is the deepening and widening of networks of human interaction within and across regions, contributing to cultural, technological, and biological diffusion within and between various societies. Roman numeral 1 includes improved transportation technologies and commercial practices, leading to an increased volume of trade and expanding the geographical range of existing and newly active trade networks. Existing trade routes, including the Silk Road, the Mediterranean Sea, the Trans-Saharan routes, the Indian Ocean basin, flourished and promoted the growth of powerful new trading cities. Communication and exchange networks developed in the Americas. Some examples would be the Mississippi River Valley, Mesoamerica, and the Andes. The growth of interregional trade in luxury goods was encouraged by significant innovations in previously existing transportation and commercial technologies, including the caravanserai, compass use, the astrolabe, the larger ship designs in sea travel, and new forms of credit and development of money economies. Some examples of new forms of credit and money economies are bills of exchange, credit, checks, banking houses, and the use of paper money. Commercial growth was also facilitated by state practices, including the Inca road system, trading organizations such as the Hanseatic League, and state sponsored commercial infrastructures such as the Grand Canal in China. The expansion of empires, including China, the Byzantine Empire, various Muslim states, and the Mongols, facilitated Afro Eurasian trade and communication as new people were drawn into their conquerors' economies and trade networks. Roman numeral 2 includes the movement of peoples causing environmental and linguistic effects. The expansion and intensification of long distance trade routes often depended on environmental knowledge and technological adaptations to the environment. Examples of the environmental knowledge and technological adaptations are the way Scandinavian Vikings used their longships to travel in coastal and open waters as well as in rivers and estuaries, the way the Arabs and Berbers adapted camels to travel across and around the Sahara, and the way Central Asian pastoral groups used horses to travel in the steppes. Some migrations had a significant environmental impact, including migration of Bantu-speaking peoples who facilitated transmission of iron technologies and agricultural techniques in sub-Saharan Africa, as well as the maritime migrations of the Polynesian peoples who cultivated transplanted foods and domesticated animals as they moved to new islands. Some migrations and commercial contacts led to the diffusion of languages throughout a new region or the emergence of new languages. Examples are the spread of Bantu languages and the spread of Turkic and Arabic languages. Roman numeral 3 includes the cross-cultural exchanges that were fostered by the intensification of existing or the creation of new networks of trade and communication. Islam, based on the revelations of the Prophet Muhammad, developed in the Arabian Peninsula. The beliefs and practices of Islam reflected in interactions among Jews, Christians, and Zoroastrians with the local Arabian peoples. Muslim rule expanded to many parts of Afro-Eurasia due to military expansion, and Islam subsequently expanded through the activities of merchants, missionaries, and Sufis. In key places along important trade routes, merchants set up diaspora communities where they introduced their own cultural traditions into the indigenous culture. Examples of these diaspora communities would be the Muslim merchant communities in the Indian Ocean region, Chinese merchant communities in Southeast Asia, Sogdian merchant communities throughout Central Asia, and Jewish communities in the Mediterranean, Indian Ocean basin, and along the Silk Roads. And as exchange networks intensified, an increased number of travelers within Afro-Eurasia wrote about their travels. Examples of these travelers are Ibn Battuta, Marco Polo, and Xuanzang. Increased cross-cultural interactions resulted in the diffusion of literary, artistic, and cultural traditions, as well as scientific and technological innovations. Examples: the spread of Christianity throughout Europe, the influence of Confucianism and Buddhism in East Asia, the spread of Hinduism and Buddhism into Southeast Asia, the spread of Islam in Sub-Saharan Africa and Asia, and the influence of Toltec Mexica and Inca traditions in Mesoamerica and Andean America. Finally, Roman numeral 4. There was continued diffusion of crops and pathogens, including epidemic diseases like the bubonic plague, including along trade routes. Some examples of the diffusion of crops would be bananas in Africa, new rice varieties in East Asia, and the spread of cotton, sugar, and citrus.